Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with Daily Technical Update. It is the 6th of April. This video is for educational purposes only. There's no recommendation or advice whatsoever intended. It's purely to demonstrate how I try to read the market using my experience and technical analysis. I have more than 25 years of experience in technical analysis. This video here will be a little bit shorter. It will not cover the stock market to begin with. I'll do that one later. Most of Europe is closed anyway, so it will only be Europe that I will cover a little bit later. This one will only cover the forex market or the equities market. So let's have a look at how it is working and what's going on. And let's start with euro dollar as usual, where it is trading here this morning just around 61.8 retracement here. It bounced off a little bit above the 115, and that will be key towards, I think, if it takes out the lows from today, then we could see a push down to test the support here at 114.40 and maybe even 114. We can see all the moving averages slightly declining there, putting a pressure on it from the other side. We did have the RSI rising, but it's still a negative sentiment. And I think if it breaks back below 40 threshold, it is likely to push lower and also support the bearish picture. 116.40 resistance up here is key to watch. If it takes out that, well, then we could have a different bullish situation, but it's not really there at the moment. The sterling dollar opened a little bit lower this morning. It was very thin market, but around the lows there, so it's bounced nicely. Could bounce a little bit further here in the next few days. Let's see if we'll do that. However, if it takes out the lows from this morning, then we are likely to see sterling dollar down to around 130, these lows here. The euro sterling, let's zoom in a little bit here. Still in this bullish trend. It's not that strong, but nevertheless it's there. We are above the cloud. We are in a positive sentiment, higher highs, higher lows, and so on. Key resistance up here around 87.45. If it takes out that, well, then we are likely to see a push up towards 88. Could slide back a little bit, but I think we will see it to the upper side. We have the 55 moving average also pushing up there, indicating or supporting higher levels. On the yen pairs, dollar yen hasn't done much really. I mean, it dipped below the 61.8 retracement, almost down to the 7.86, and then bounced. And will it bounce further here the next few days? We can also add a Fibonacci to this, so we have at least some of theirs where we could be trading. We are trading around the 61.8 retracement there. I think we will crawl higher, and I think if we takes out the peak from today, actually here on what is it, 159.85, then I think we will see a go at the peak there at 160.5. And I think we will see that scenario play out, especially if we can get RSI back above the 60 threshold, currently testing its falling trend line there. So a little bit uptrend exhaustion, but we have seen it so many times before. It can still push higher, and I think it will eventually. We can also see higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. Will we get a new higher high? It seems to be in the cards. The euro yen forming this ascending like a triangle here, with a more or less flat peaks and rising bottoms here. So still above the rising trend line. Negative sentiment though, because we were below 40 threshold there, and we need to get back above 60 threshold there, and we need the euro yen to get back above 184, 75, 80, these peaks here. If we do that, and I think we will, but I want proof to do anything, then I think we'll see it pushing higher towards 186, but it's not really playing out at the moment. Let's see about that. Aussie yen keep crawling back, bouncing here above the cloud. RSI bounced from the 40 threshold, and I think we'll see it pushing up to trying to test the rising trend line there. Very likely I could see this the coming week towards 112 to 61.8 retracement here, just around 112. and then there may be a little bit of a setback. However, if it takes out the lows here at 108.75, well, then there's potential down to around 107.5. Sterling yen also bounced this morning here, opened a little bit low, but very thin market. It was below the cloud. It was also below the cloud here a few days ago, but still positive sentiment on the RSI. So we are in a bouncing mode. If it could take out 211.5, these peaks here, well, then I think we'll see a push up to 212.5 area and possibly test this rising trend line there. It is not that interesting anymore, but still I keep it there because sometimes it will test from the underside after breaking below it. If it takes out the 209.60 level here, the support there, well, let's see, there we are. Then I think we'll see lower levels towards 208.5, possibly lower. On to Aussie dollar. That has this spike down here this morning, but I checked and it seems to be just a very, very thin market here Monday morning in Asia, and so I don't really rely on, or don't want to count on, because maybe it was just one misprint and one outlier here, it seems. But anyway, the 100 moving average coming up here, giving some support, and could bounce a little bit further, and I will adjust this horizontal line because I think if we are taking out that level at 96.65, 69.65, then I think we'll see it pushing higher in the coming days and weeks. What we can also do to get just a feel for how far it could move, let's see, there we are, and I disregard this spike down because I think it's a little bit, it's the wrong one. So we can see it actually bounced to the 38.2 retracement, then set back. But I think we'll see it crawling higher here in the coming weeks. Then we have the 61.8 just above the cloud area. Still negative sentiment, so we could see setback. So if we slide back below 68.30, well, then I think we'll see lower levels in the 67.50 area. But I think we will crawl back there. Dollar Canada. Well, Canada are still elevated here, still in the bullish trend, but a little bit choppy. So you can see the RSI values declining there, but market actually moved higher. So a little bit stressed or exhausted mode. However, as long as we stay above, and let me just add two lines actually, because there could be some support here at 138.65 and 138.35. If it takes out these levels, first one, then this one, and then if it takes out this lower level at 138.35, then we could see further setback below 137.80, possibly all the way down to these levels here around 137.5. However, we are still in the bullish trend with higher highs and higher lows. So as long as this picture plays out, or this scenario plays out, there is potential higher towards 141 up here, but it needs to take out that peak there about a week ago. EURSWISS also in a bit of bounce mode, but it's very thin market this morning here, but it is forming this rising trend line here. Still higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, and higher highs. Well, we also have a higher low here. It seems like it, so we could see it pushing up towards the 200 moving average. That is coming down here just around 92.65, 92.75 area. There could be some resistance again. On the other hand, there could be potential up to 93.25, where we have some stronger resistance with these peaks here in this cluster here. EURSWISS just slowly crawling higher and higher in this rising channel-like pattern here. Strong resistance at 80, 45, 50 up here. If it takes out that, well, then we are looking at 81.5 and maybe up to 82. However, if it starts taking out, and I want to see it take out 78.45, then we could see a bearish scenario playing out. But we have the 55 moving average turning around here. We are above the cloud. We are in a positive sentiment, so it supports higher levels on dollar Swiss. The dollar index pushed up to the 786 retracement there at 100 spots. 20, then sitting back a little bit. If it takes it out, then I also think we'll take out the 100 spot 50 here and push up to around 101 could be seen. But for now, I would expect it to sit back a little bit, maybe testing the rising trend line there before the next push higher. Let's also have a look at the metal sector in this regard, because some of them are trading like the FX, FX spot market. Here we have the FX spot gold dollar, and that's the one I rely the most on because it's trading almost 24 hours. So we had gold up to the 61.8 retracement there, just below, just around 4,800. It didn't get all the way up there, just below, a few pips below the 4,800. Then sitting back and sell-off hit, and now we're trading around this support resistance level here. So kind of a pivot point. It dipped lower, but kind of a pivot point, also around the 100 moving average. Still negative sentiment on the RSI. So if it slides back and take out the lows here from the 2nd of April, and RSI moves back below 40 threshold, then we could see a push down to these support levels here around 43.80, 43.50. The silver spot, rejected the 100 moving average and the 55% retracement of this sell-off there, and we could resume bearish trend. Still negative sentiment, and if it moves back below the 40 threshold, and if silver takes out 76.50, well, then I expect a push down towards these 60 levels there again. Also platinum spot here, testing resistance, key resistance here, just below 2,000, 1997, but 2,000 really key resistance. Has almost actually peaked a little bit above 2,000 there, and didn't do it this morning. So that'll be key. If it again takes out the lows from the 2nd, right there at 1878, then I expect to test these lows here once again in a 200 moving average. And let's just throw the copper into the mix. Copper slowly rising trend there, but still negative sentiment. We are below the cloud. We are below 55 moving average, trading around the 100. So I think we could see it turning around again. So if it takes out the rising trend line there, and if it takes out 551, well, then we could see another push down to around the 525. All right, that was FX and metals this morning here, and I will be back a little bit later with with other commodities such as the oil markets. Oh, sorry about that. I will throw in the US 10-year Treasury yield actually, because that's actually quite important also for the FX market. Do apologize about that, but let's just have a look at US 10-year Treasury yield. Actually bounced a little bit above 427. Didn't get all the way down to 425 as I actually did expect. So bounced a little bit, could get up to 440. If it takes out that spike up there at 440, then I think we could see uptrend resuming towards above 450. But for now, we are merely just in a correction. It's still higher highs, so we are in a bullish trend, just pausing a little bit of correction there. So keep an eye on those levels. All right, that's all for today, and have a nice day, and talk to you again later.